I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a look at the captivating world of Appy, the Appaloosa Cowpony. It's a wonderful book written by Jessie A Craker, and it is a heartwarming story that follows Appy, born different in the dead of winter as he grows from a nervous colt to a majestic leader. Join us right now as we explore themes of resilience, courage, and the bond between humans and horses. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her remarkable book. The links are below this interview. Jessie, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Was Appy a real horse? Was the horse one
No,
of
it
yours?
was just my imagination. I love horses, and I liked especially the Gullah Appaloosa. That's the horse that's usually black with the white blanket on the back with black spots. They come
They
in
are
all
beautiful
different
horses.
colors, but I like that one.
Yep, very, very beautiful horses. Have you ever owned horses?
Even my son had two horses. He bought a mare and then he bred her to a saddlebred stallion. And she threw a colt 1 hour before he was to graduate from high school, and he was a valedictorian. So the whole
Wow.
class came down to see his graduation gift. But
Amazing, amazing. Tell us a little bit about your inspiration behind the book, Appy, the Appaloosa Cowpony.
I enjoy horses. My husband and I were resistant 4-H leaders back when we were young. We're in our 70s now. But we enjoyed the kids. My husband's always been a youth leader. We had a boarding home that we brought the kids down, and they loved the farm. We would stay overnight. When we had the 4-H, we bring the horses down back of where we live now and tie them up at night, and the kids would sleep out in sleeping bags. And it was just an inspiration to write a book like that, but from a horse's point of view.
Absolutely, absolutely. It sounds like such a beautiful life to live in connection with nature like that. I think so many of us long to have experiences like that. So you're blessed to have had those real life experiences, and now others can have kind of vicarious experiences by reading your book. Give the overall story. Just give an overview of what the story, Appy, the Appaloosa Cowpony, is about.
Okay, Appy was born in the winter in a snowstorm, and he's very close to his mother, and an old horse a gelding that kind of watched over him. And it went from there to where they spent the winter and the hardships they had, and then going to the ranch and meeting the men for the first time on horses, and then his experience there the first year, and then they turn him back out into the fields again for the second winter. Then his coming back, his mother had passed away. He meets his father, who is also an Appaloosa Gullah, just like him. It's the only one he ever threw that looked like him. That horse's name was Temple. And he meets Mary, a young farm girl, the ranch daughter, and she basically takes over his training. Uh, then he gets the idea he would like to be free. He didn't like being corralled in a barn or in a pasture, and he got free, and he had some experiences with wild animals such as the bear. Uh, he spent the winter alone, and it's lonesome. And they made contact with the man again, and they brought him back to the ranch. And it's his experiences with the other horses, the friends that he had made the first year that he lived. Uh, and again, he gets the idea he doesn't like being cooped up, and he escapes again. Uh, it's a challenge. We ran a boarding home with kids too, and they were the dysfunctional youth, the teenagers, mostly boys, and trying to train them kind of like put an inference into the story that, you got to obey rules. You've got to learn to live with each other. It corresponds basically with the raising of young people as well as the horses.
Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Certainly young people can be as challenging, if not more challenging
They
than
are
horses at
challenging.
times, have as much energy and as much spirit, that's for sure. But I'm sure those children were blessed to have you in their lives. Absolutely. Were there any challenges writing a book from a horse's perspective?
No, not really. My husband had like a challenge too, but when I was on the computer a lot, typing, and I didn't give him as much attention as he thought he should have.
That's funny.
But
So your husband was neglected. That was the biggest challenge. Okay.
right.
Well,
Um,
we'll have to make sure that he gets his meals on time and that,
oh, definitely. He needs,
okay.
he was a pastor for 40 some years, so
Wow.
we
So,
it was a challenge. I wrote it after he retired. He
oh,
has dementia, and that's a challenge in itself too.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Well, I'm glad you wrote this book, and I'm glad the story is out there in the world because you never know, a filmmaker might pick this up and decide to turn it into a movie or something. I could see that. Have you ever envisioned it as a film?
I've thought about a cartoon type, you know, animated film, uh,
Hmm.
seeing the Lion King and some of these other ones that the animals did talk. Uh, I think it would be a challenge.
Yeah, I think it'd be wonderful. I think you could make it happen. And I also think we had Mr. Ed years ago. That horse talked, right?
Yes, I watched that too.
Exactly. That was all of our first encounter with horses, especially talking horses, that's for sure. Now, do you have the writing bug? Are you working on anything new right now?
I haven't in the last couple of weeks. I'm in the process of trying to get an auction going. We inherited my mother and father's farm.
Hmm.
My husband and I lived in Pennsylvania where he pastored, and then we inherited the farm where all the action took place with the 4-H,
Yeah.
because we lived up the road. But uh, I'm trying to get things together, and I've been mulling over different things, but I haven't come up with anything lately. Like I say, I have other books that I have written, and but I haven't lately. I started one, but it's not coming together.
Okay, well, you never know when you get that creative spark, it just might happen. What do you hope readers learn or take away from this book when they read it?
Well, I would think that they would enjoy horses, get a little insight in maybe what a horse really is. They're a big animal.
Yeah.
My dad had two big Belgians here on the farm, and he rode them. He didn't do anything. They were his pets, but everybody would come and he let them ride the big Belgians, which it's a big way up there and a big broad back. You can put
Yeah.
me out, but uh,
Yeah, exactly. They
I
are.
think
Once you
I
get on the
think
horse's back, you realize how big a horse is, right?
especially the gentle giants.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Uh,
They are quite large, that's for sure. I think the bond between humans and horses is greater than humans and any other animal. Why do you think
I
that
think
is?
they're very trusting.
Hmm.
They can be very trusting. They can be very violent too.
Yeah.
But now Jared, my son's colt would tear down our fence constantly. And when I'd go out to put the metal fence back up, he would walk behind me and make a new hairstyle for me. But he was actually my horse. Our son had gone to college, so I ended up raising him. So he ended up being mine, and he was very close. I
Yeah.
was the only one that he would come to when he got out.
Amazing, amazing. Well, we're glad you have such a great connection with horses, and we're glad you have such a great way with words because this book is just terrific. It is called Appy, the Appaloosa Cowpony. It's written by Jessie Craker. It is a heartwarming story that follows Appy that was born different in the dead of winter on a frigid night as he grows from a nervous colt to a majestic leader. Within the pages of this book, Jessie explores themes of resilience, courage, and the bond between humans and horses. Jessie, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. I enjoyed our conversation. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time. This time until next time
Okay,
on
thank you.
Spotlight. Thank you.